Listen day everyone, my name is Ronan Diola from 12 STEM EDISON of Malinta National High School, Senior High. And we're going to learn about to solve the resultant vector using component method. So our learning competencies for today is that we're going to learn what is a vector, to identify the resultant vector, and to be able to solve for the resultant vector using component method. So what is a vector? It is a quantity that has both magnitude and direction. For example, displacement, velocity, force, and acceleration. These are vector quantities. To further explain, here are some here are some examples of magnitude and direction. 7 meters north, 4 meters south, 12 meters 30 degrees west of north, 18 meters 20 degrees east of north. Sounds complex, right? But we're going to learn it today, so don't worry. So what are we going to find again? That is right, the resultant vector. The resultant vector is the sum of two or more vectors. It is the result of adding two or more vectors together. So how do we find it? Using the component method. In component method, here are the two examples of them. The Pythagorean theorem and tangent function. The Pythagorean theorem, we encountered it in our junior high school days. We know it as a squared is equals to a squared is equals to x squared plus y squared. But we're going to find the resultant vector. So we're going to alter the a to become an r. So r squared is equals to x squared plus y squared. But we're going only to find the resultant vector, not the resultant vector squared. So we're going to square root the both sides. So r squared is equals to square root of x squared plus y squared. So the tangent function, we also encountered it in our junior high school. Back then when grade 9 or grade 10. So we know it as tangent theta is equals to opposite all over adjacent. But we're going to find an angle or degree in the resultant vector. So theta is equals to tangent raised to -1 quantity opposite all over adjacent quantity. So here are the example. So here we are going to add the two vectors. So first, you have to find the x and y component of 18 meters, 20 degrees east of north. So here is to give an angle which is the east of north. So east of north, you can also state that as east from north. So east from north to east, okay? So why does this angle here? Why does the theta belong there? Because when you have this axis and this resultant vector, so you'll have to have east from north, okay? How do we find the x and y component? So we have to identify it as the adjacent and the opposite. So adjacent is always cosine and opposite is always sine. So where is the opposite and adjacent here? Vector 2 is the adjacent. Why? Because it is in the horizontal axis or x-axis. And vector 1 is the y-axis or the adjacent. The opposite rather. So ax is equals to sine theta because it is the opposite. So ax is equals to 18 meters sine quantity 20 degrees is equals to 6.16 meters when you solve it in the scientific calculator. So ay is equals to cosine theta because it is the adjacent. So ay is equals to 18 meters cos quantity 20 degrees. When you solve it in the calculator, ay is equals to 16.91. So next one is the 12 meters 30 degrees west of north. So vector 1 is the opposite because it is in the y-axis, and vector 2 is the adjacent because it is in the horizontal axis or the x-axis. So why does this theta belong here? So when we annotate it, this will become in view. So west of north, okay? West of north. From north to west, okay? So that is the reason. So bx is equals to sine theta because it is the opposite. So bx is equals to 12 meters sine quantity 30 degrees is equals to 6 meters. And by is equals to cosine because it is the adjacent. So by is equals to 12 meters cosine quantity 30 degrees is equals to 10.39. So we're going to add it together, the x and y components. So 6.16 meters plus 6 meters equals to 12.16 meters. And it is north. So 6 and the y component 16.91 meters minus 10.39 meters equals to 6.52 meters east. Why does this have a negative component? Because when we know that north is positive, east is positive, and west is negative, and south is negative. So that is the reason. Okay. So after we add the x and y component, we're going to use this two component method. So r is equals to square root of quantity 12.16 quantity squared plus 6.52 quantity squared. So r is equals to 13.79768096.4 when it is solved in the scientific calculator, and estimating it, we're going to have in 13.80 meters. Tangent function, we're going to find the angle. So angle is equals to tangent raised to -1 quantity x all over y, because in our angle, x is the opposite and adjacent is the y. So tangent raised to 1 quantity 12.16 all over 6.52. When solving it in the scientific calculator, we'll be having 61.80493297, and estimating it, we're going to have 61.8. So our final answer will be 13.80 meters, 61.8 degrees east of north. Okay, so sorry for the stutters, and thank you for listening. Goodbye.